Welcome to your mindfulness moment. We are your behavior health team. Today we are going to be talking all about anxiety. This information is only to be used as an educational resource and should not replace therapy. So what exactly is anxiety? According to the Anxiety and Depression Association of America, anxiety is a feeling of worry, nervousness, or unease, typically about an imminent event or something with an uncertain outcome. Anxiety affects about 40 million adults in the United States age 18 and older, or 18.1% of the population every year. Anxiety disorders are highly treatable, yet only 36.9% of those suffering receive treatment. Many ways of coping with anxiety that we will cover in this video. If those don't help, cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, is highly effective at reframing our thoughts and lowering our anxiety symptoms. So how can we think about anxiety? Dr. John Deloney says in one of his podcasts that we should stop using anxiety as an identity. Anxiety is not a medical disease or a genetic disorder or way of being. It's not an excuse or a death sentence. You are not your anxiety. Millions of people with anxiety are walking around believing they've got a disease. They wear it like a cape that covers them and drags them down and impacts everything they do. But anxiety is a learned and adapted physical and mental response to a world that's full of threats and disconnection, perceived or real. It's a fear of the future and a fear of things you cannot control. Anxiety is your body's way of trying to take care of you, and since you learned it, it can be unlearned. So number 2, honor the alarms. Maybe you just found out your family member tested positive for COVID. Maybe you just got in a fight with your best friend. Maybe you've never been deployed before and you are feeling overwhelmed by the thoughts of the future. In moments like these, your alarm should be going off. This is exactly what they are for. Honor and respect them, and look for what they're signaling. What are your alarms trying to tell you? Learn to pay attention to when and why the alarms go off for you personally. Maybe it's running into a certain coworker in the hall, or being ignored by someone you care about. Or maybe it's when you arrive home after a long, exhausting day and feel afraid to step inside because there's only loneliness waiting to greet you. Maybe it's the weight of a past tragedy. Yes, the alarms are loud. Your heart rate takes over. Ugly and intrusive thoughts become missiles through your mind. Your thoughts spin out of control, but the longer you ignore the alarms, the longer you're cutting yourself off from taking control of your thoughts, changing your environment, and getting what you need. Pay attention to your anxiety instead of silencing it. When sad things happen to you, you should feel sad. When tragedy strikes, you should be heartbroken. When someone around you dies, you should be angry and grieve deeply. Feeling hurt is the price of admission for love. Having uncomfortable feelings or painful experiences doesn't mean you're broken. It means you're human, and pain's a part of life. Anxiety is not who you are. It's the way you experience the world. It's the warning signal that you are disconnected from your loved ones, and that the world you've been placed in, or that you've created for yourself, is out of rhythm. So here's just a couple ways of coping with anxiety that we came up with. Relationships. So you can FaceTime, you can call home, write letters, watch Netflix together. There's an app with the Gottman cards that you can do with your loved one. You can hang out with coworkers if you're feeling lonely. Number 2, you can exercise, so maybe doing some running or HIIT workouts, playing sports, hiking, swimming, or walking. Number 3 is nutrition. Eat a balanced diet. Avoid eating out for every single meal, and avoid overuse of alcohol, nicotine, or caffeine. Number 4 is music, so there's Spotify, Pandora, mixtapes, and CDs. Yeah, no one really does that anymore, but I thought that was funny. So listening to friends and listening to this music with friends and family back home could be a way that you can connect with them. Number 5 is journaling, so make sure to include highs and lows to fully process your day. You're not just saying that your day is great every single time you're writing in there. Be honest with yourself. Number 6 is spirituality. Seek out the chaplain team or watch pre-recorded messages online. So these are just a few helpful ideas. Once you find that works for you, keep it in your schedule and do it as much as possible. Sometimes we don't feel like going for a run or working out, but how many times do we actually say at the end of that was a complete waste of time? So sometimes you have to force yourself in the now to experience the benefits later. So when to refer for mental health services. So this isn't just like a stressful day. These are feelings that you cannot get rid of no matter how hard you try, and they've lingered for weeks or even months. So the feeling that you're constantly on edge or restless, you're agitated, and the inability to sleep or nightmares, flashbacks, obsessive fears, excessive rumination about issues, any thoughts about suicide, homicide, or hallucinations. And if you kind of know someone that's been going through this, it isn't just a bad day or two. Just remember the acronym ACE, so Ask, Care, and Escort. So ask, talk to the member, and ask them straight up if they're having any concerns. This is the hardest part as a friend or a mental health provider, but it's surprising how many people will tell you straight up how they're feeling. So if someone does say that they're having safety concerns, take it seriously. So that's part of care. Don't just ignore their safety concerns. Be vulnerable with them and actually listen. And then escort, the last part, is physically bring the member to the mental health team or the chaplain team, and then we'll take it from there. Thank you, and I hope you got some value out of this video today. Please share it with your friends if you think it would benefit them, and have a great day, everybody.